Hello and welcome to everyone joining in. We'll wait a few minutes just for everyone to be able to log into the link and then we'll start. So please bear with us for a minute or two. Numbers are slowly going up, so yeah, just another minute. We'll start around 2 or 3 past. Welcome to everyone joining in. We'll be going very soon. Just a little bit of housekeeping. I'll say this again just as we start, but any questions that you have, please do type them in to the Q&A box at any time. We'll try and answer as many live as possible, and if they're not answered live, then we'll answer them in the Q&A session once the presentation is over. Okay, it's 2 minutes past now. I'm sure a few more people will be trickling in, but we'll start off with a brief introduction so that we have plenty of time to listen to our wonderful speakers. So hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar, Delivering Impactful Technology Solutions, a look at Maytech. My name is Henry Hutton, and I'm one of the lead technology success managers here at Hackajob, and I'll be moderating today's event. We're going to hear from some of the experts at Maytech, and the speakers will share projects they've worked on, including the rationale behind why they work across them and how this way of working supports individual learning and growth. They'll go over cloud services they use, including AWS, skills they're looking for, learning and mentoring opportunities at Maytech. Obviously, a part of this event, you'll have the opportunity to take part in the Q&A session and speak directly to the team. Like I said, right at the start, some housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during presentations, please type them into the Q&A box in your Zoom control panel. We'll bring them up either at the end of each presentation or at the end during the Q&A, where everything will be answered. So let's introduce our speakers. We've got Stu McKellar, Head of Cloud and Engineering, Falora Juan-Arop, Associate Software Engineer, Stephen Stradrek, Principal Technical Architect, and Evie Skinner, Software Engineer, who are going to take you through everything today. So over to you, Stu.
Thanks, Henry, and welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Stu McKellar. I'm the Head of the Cloud and Engineering Practice at Maytech. So what is Maytech? Well, we're an exclusively public sector oriented consultancy. And essentially, we help the public sector to deliver technology better. We work directly with our clients. We build software together. We encourage the adoption of modern ways of working and best practice wherever we can. You can see here a selection of past and current clients on the right-hand side of the screen at the moment. These are typical of the sorts of clients that we work with. Moving on to our mission. So our overarching mission is to help the public sector build world-class technology teams that practice the sort of techniques and ways of working you see in an internet era business. Now we've got 4 pillars that underlie this. Firstly, we modernize. We help our clients to modernize their legacy technology, often into the cloud, but also their working practices as well, making sure that our clients are adopting best practice and ways of working. We also want to help our clients accelerate delivery. So we want to make sure that they're getting their services into the hands of users, citizens, as quickly as possible. We also want to help them to drive smart decisions. We want our clients to be data-driven and use automation to achieve that. And we also want to enable sustainable technology and delivery skills. So we want to make sure that we're helping our clients to retain and build the skills that they need, and basically leave them in a better place than when we found them. So now let's talk a little bit about my team within Maytech, which is the cloud and engineering practice. But before we dive into cloud and engineering, I just want to give a quick overview of what Maytech does more broadly. So we currently have 6 practices within Maytech. The first one, cloud and engineering. We work with our clients to build great software and advise on how to better deliver digital solutions. We also have our data practice. We help our clients to build more data-driven strategies and execute on them. We have our delivery management organization, which coordinates the activities of our wider teams and ensures schedules and budgets are adhered to. We have our managed services practice, which is relatively new, still building this, where we support live digital services to minimize issues and ensure that any that remain are swiftly resolved. We have our transformation practice, again, relatively new to Maytech. This is where we assist clients to plan and deliver end-to-end digital transformation journeys, right from the initial business case to the final product. And lastly, we have our user center practice. This is where we ensure that everything we build is designed with the end user foremost in mind. And we also importantly validate that the outcome actually meets user needs. But if we zoom in on cloud and engineering, I'm going to talk today about what the practice does, how it's structured, what a typical delivery looks like. And cloud and engineering is by far the largest practice at Maytech. So if we think a little bit about what we actually do day to day, there are 4 capabilities that we have within the cloud and engineering practice. Next slide, please, Anna. The first of these is software engineering. This is the core of our business. Maytech was founded by engineers and it's still the bedrock of our business. And broadly, we deliver a mixture of public-facing services, GDS, so the Government Digital Service. Many of you are probably familiar with the look and feel of GDS web services. You'll see them all over government and local authority websites. We also deliver lots of back-end services, and we do a lot of migration work, legacy technology. We cover a variety of different common tech stacks. In terms of languages, we do a lot of JavaScript, Ruby, Java, C#, Python, and several others. The vast majority of the work we do is in the cloud. So AWS is, I'd say, our sort of primary platform, but we do a bit of Azure work and a tiny bit of Google Cloud Platform as well. Then moving on to cloud engineering. Really, the focus here is on the platforms themselves rather than delivery of software. So all of our software engineering is also delivered in the cloud, or the very vast majority of it. But the cloud engineering capability is more about building partnerships with cloud vendors. And we also look at migration strategies for legacy technology and best practices for moving legacy technology into the cloud. And we also look at what's coming next in the world of cloud and try and exploit emerging opportunities. Then technical architecture. So Stephen's going to cover this in a bit more detail, but at a very high level, we help our clients with their technical strategies. We provide architecture support to our engineering teams. And importantly, we also provide technical assurance to delivery teams, making sure that what they're building is on the right track from a technical perspective. And then lastly, here we have cybersecurity. So all of our technical people must have a baseline cybersecurity awareness. That's absolutely crucial. But we also need expertise to advise and assure both to our clients and internally. And this is where the cybersecurity capability comes in. So the people here are sort of true experts. It's all they focus on day to day. And we're building this capability as a result of huge increases in threats to public sector digital assets over recent months and years, many of which you've probably seen in the press. So this is a massive growth area for us. Then if we talk about our team, so currently we have around 200 people in cloud and engineering at Maytech. Geographically diverse, but we have 4 base locations, so London, Manchester, Bristol and Swansea. And we have a very strong community of practice. We're very well versed in remote ways of working. We grew a lot during the lockdown era, so we're pretty used to working remotely and working outside co-located teams. So we built a very strong community of practice where we share skills and experience and support each other. But also we evolve how we work. So we don't want to be static. We want to make sure that we're sort of, as we grow, we're changing how we work and making sure that we're making the best use of the team that we have. And each of the 4 capabilities I mentioned previously have got distinct job roles, each of which also has a sort of set of seniorities consistent across all roles at Maytech. And those levels of seniority are based on SFIA or the Skills for Information Age framework, which is commonly used in the public sector. And we're a growing business. We've got ambitious plans to extend our breadth of operations as well as our overall scale. And that means lots of opportunities to progress or move into other disciplines within Maytech, which is something we actively encourage. And we also value diversity across our team, and we aim to build a team that's representative of the wider community, who are ultimately the end users of what we build. So talking a little bit about the work that we do, we only work in the public sector. So I think for the last 4 or 5 years, that's all we've done. We don't do any private sector work anymore. So we focus on public sector technology and methodologies, which are similar, but there are some sort of unique aspects of delivering the public sector that you don't necessarily see so much in the private sector or at all. It's very rewarding working in the public sector, working on things that directly positively impact you and the people around you. It's a great feeling. And public sector digital transformation is a very stable and growing addressable market in the sense that there's always going to be public sector need, digital need. So it's not prone to some of the economic turmoil that we've seen recently, more sort of widely. In terms of our 3 core markets, we have central government, local government, and health. So central government is the lion's share of the work that we do, and we work with 18 different departments currently. So they range from the Ministry of Justice to the Home Office, plus we have various arm's length bodies such as the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency and the Met Office we're working with. We currently develop and maintain the Met Office website and web app, for, mobile app, sorry, for weather forecasting. Looking at local government, we're building our presence with local authorities and have been for some time now, mainly London boroughs and a handful of councils in England so far, but we're looking to extend that with a focus primarily on housing related services. I think that's just because there's a lot of work at the moment. So our main goal with local government is to increase reuse of solutions across authorities and reduce inefficiency. There's an awful lot of reinventing the wheel currently, which is expensive, and as citizens, we should all encourage reuse, and we're all council taxpayers. The more reuse there is, the less burden there is on councils in building digital services. Then lastly, health. So we've worked on a variety of initiatives around COVID, which is really what got us into health initially. So as an example, with Test and Trace, we worked on the data backbone for labs to exchange test results, for example. We currently have 4 clients in the health space, mostly parts of the wider NHS ecosystem. And similarly to local government, the goal there for us really is to reduce duplication across trusts and other sort of organisations within the NHS. We really want to encourage reuse and also increase adoption of shared data standards, which is a real issue within the NHS at the moment between different parts of the organisation, not speaking the same technical language, if you like. So moving on to a typical delivery at Maytech. So Flo's going to talk a bit more about DVLA later, as she's currently engaged there, but to give you a high-level view of one of our sort of larger deliveries. DVLA, based in Swansea, we've been working with them since September 2020. We currently have 9 blended engineering teams, and by blended I mean we work with DVLA engineers together in teams, which we found to be the optimal way of working. We also have 4 technical architects working there currently, and overall Maytech have 60 people engaged at DVLA at the moment. And the way we operate is we're on site 40% of the time with DVLA in their offices, and the remainder of the time people are either working at home or in Maytech offices if they choose to do that. And in terms of the sorts of things that we do, we delivered various different services there, and there's all sorts of work we do with DVLA, but 2 good examples that you may be familiar with on the right side of the screen here. Driver's First Provisional License. This is a service we delivered last year or maybe even the year before, towards the end. This is where people who don't have a license currently and want to learn to drive apply for their first license. So this is bringing a previous iteration of a digital service into the sort of GDS standard and just making it easier to use. Things like integration with the passport office. So if you have a passport, your photo can be automatically brought into this service and used in your driving license. And just trying to make all of the application processes as smooth and seamless as possible and quick as well. Similarly, 10-year license renewal. This is something that's just launched in the last few days. So you may be aware that photocard licenses need to be renewed every 10 years. So this is the first time that we've had a proper GDS style service that allows that to be done online completely, end to end. And then moving on, lastly, to building our own products. So this is something we've focused on more recently. We've effectively built a research and development team internally. We built and launched our first SaaS, or software as a service product, in less than 12 months. And that's housing repairs online for council properties. So you can see there on the right hand side of the screen, a screenshot of that. I think that's, I can't actually see which council that is. My eyes aren't good enough, but yeah, we have this live in a couple of councils at the moment. We're planning to roll it out more widely. So our R&D focus is on local government initially, just because we see so much scope there to deliver, and there's so much duplication and replication of effort currently. We intend to massively increase our investment in R&D over the coming years. If nothing else, it's a great way to use surplus consultancy capacity. So consultancy, obviously, there's sort of peaks and troughs of demand. So when we have people who are surplus to sort of current needs, we can use them to work on our R&D products. It's a great way to be more efficient. But also, it's a great place to develop best practices. Effectively, it's a proving ground for how we work and how we deploy new technology, so we can try things out before we sort of test them with real live clients. So that's it from me. I'm going to hand over to Stephen now to talk about software architecture at Maytech.
Thanks, Stu. Hi everyone. Yeah, so I'm an architect at Maytech, and as an architect at Maytech, people come to me a lot and they ask me what is architecture and what do architects actually do. This is quickly followed up with, how do I become an architect? And then that's quickly followed up with, do I even want to become an architect? So I'm going to talk a little bit about that to start off with. So we spent some time figuring out, what a Maytech architect actually is, because if you look at the definitions of an architecture role across the whole industry, it is a little bit confusing. There's lots of different flavors of architects out there. But what we think is important at Maytech and within the public sector is represented in this diagram here. And what's interesting about this is what we discovered is our best performing architects and teams aren't just technical experts, but they also have an array of soft skills as well. So if you look at this diagram on the right, you'll see a lot of technical skills around languages and frameworks and cloud and security. And a lot of our architects have a software development background. So they started off as software developers, and then they moved into architecture. What we often say is that it's important to have a breadth of knowledge. You might have a depth in a certain language, and you might have a lot of expertise, but it's important to have worked on multiple languages and frameworks to get that breadth of experience. But that experience and that technical knowledge isn't valuable without being able to deliver an impact with a client. So we often say that our architects are agents of change. And this is really true in the public sector, where we're looking to transform ways of working, improve software, improve delivery. So what our architects have to do is they have to listen. They have to really understand what is important and what the client needs and what the user needs. They also need to play that back to make sure that they've understood it correctly. They then need to challenge, to influence, by using presenting skills and speaking skills, and they need to be able to use their influence to change direction and to deliver that knowledge that they have on the ground, sometimes through their vision, and also through coaching and mentoring and working and helping the teams around them to be great software developers. So the architect role at Maytech, the skills and behaviors there are, there's quite a lot to it. So with that in mind, we realized that it was still quite confusing for many of our software developers who were wondering, did they have the right skills and could they become an architect? So because of that, we developed a skills radar. So this is actually an online application. We'll share the link to it after this. I believe it's on our website or on our GitHub page. The source code is as well. But the reason we developed this was it allowed engineers to rate themselves against all those different skills and behaviors, against these different scales, to understand where they might be, so sort of self-rate, and then see what radar they present, and then to overlay that against typical positions such as a leader or principal architect, and see where they're strong and where they need to work on different areas for improvement. And what's really interesting about this, we use this not so much to gauge people or assess people, but to spark a conversation. So normally maybe a senior architect or manager with another engineer will have that discussion. And we find that our engineers sometimes might be surprised that certain skills such as resilience are a really important skill for an architect. And we might see that it's not uncommon for people to be quite spiky on this graph. They have really strong technical skills, but maybe they haven't had much exposure to business practices, or maybe they find presenting uncomfortable, or something they want to work on, or something they don't want to work on. And it helps to sort of gauge that understanding whether architecture is right for them, and whether they should pursue it or not, or if they do want to pursue it, what they should work on. And that leads us to the next part of, and something Maytech is very focused on, is it's one thing to identify the skills and behaviors and things you might want to develop, but we can't leave people just on their own to go and figure out how to improve that. We have to give them some support. So we really focus on learning and development. So with that in mind, we developed a number of learning resources. So we've developed an architecture handbook. So this is on GitHub. It's pretty much all open. And we developed Introduction to Software Architecture Learning Path. So this is for everyone. It might be you just out of the Maytech Academy, or you might be a senior developer, but it takes you through what Maytech, or what our opinion of a modern digital architect is. It points you at learning resources that we think are important, and they might be books, they might be blogs, they might be YouTube videos. We try to create that down to something that is manageable, and you can maybe in a few hours you can work through it and get an idea of what an architect does and what we believe is important, and just to get an introduction to some of the principles that will be useful to you when working on the job. Also, with that in mind, we realized that when we put architects into roles such as the DVLA, that we give them as much support as possible. Especially, we've had a number of people recently who've moved from engineering positions into architecture roles, so that lateral movement inside Maytech, and we want to be able to give them support by providing them with playbooks, which is effectively a framework to help them through those first engagements and help them to guide them without necessarily telling them exactly what to do. It's not like you must do this, and this. So we've developed a quite a comprehensive playbook. Unfortunately, that's internal. That's the only thing on the site that you can't get access to if you visit it. Everything else you can. But we use that playbook to really support and be consistent in our delivery for our clients. I want to also talk a little bit now. Have the next slide, please. I want to talk about how that actually plays out with our clients. So Stu showed us a big slide earlier with lots of different departments we work for, and to a certain extent, for all of those clients, we provide architecture support, because even if you're an engineering team building a particular service, you're still making decisions about architecture on a day-to-day basis. So all our engineers are architects effectively, but also we provide architects to support the teams. So we might have an architect role as part of a wider team, but in particular for these central government departments here, so Department for Education and for Business and Trade, we actually have contracts that provide focus architecture support for their central architecture team. So we actually help those departments both deliver architecture on the ground, but also shape how they deliver architecture. At the DVLA, we have a wider contract where we support the DVLA across a number of different things, and we found that the architecture role emerged there. We saw that they had an enterprise architecture team, and they had very clear business goals and outcomes they wanted to achieve, and they had developers on the ground trying to deliver that. But we found that they were struggling to connect those two together, and we organically ended up placing architects to bring the whole business together. And that ended up being very valuable for the DVLA. And we'll talk a little bit more on the next slide about how we do that. So the important thing that we find for the modern digital architect, and especially in the public sector, is this idea that they are connecting all the different parts of the business. So we're stealing an idea from a great book by Gregor Hopp called The Architecture Elevator. So he has this idea of thinking about architecture or an architect's role in that they move up and down an elevator within this building. And imagine at the top floor, you have the boardroom and the decision makers and the exec team and the stakeholders. But at the boiler room, you have the developers building and delivering the services. Then up and down all the different floors on the building, you have different teams and different people, maybe service areas, maybe product teams, maybe delivery managers. And what the architect does is move up and down the building, up and down the elevator, and they stop at the floor and they explain and they demystify ideas, they remove friction, they conquer complexity, and they bring about change. So they make sure that the needs and the issues of the team delivering the services are communicated to the exec team, but vice versa, the outcomes and the needs of the business are communicated back down to the boiler room and all the people in between. And this is what the modern architect does. In the old world, you might have had enterprise architects only working with the business and the exec team, and you had technical architects only working with the delivery teams. But we find more often especially in government, that the idea of having this more roaming architect is extremely valuable. And if we go to the last slide, this is pretty much what we end up as an architect, as our architects do with government agencies, is they bring about this change of behavior. So what we see on the left here, we've got the old school client principles and processes in the drab grey, and we used to see a lot, and we still do see a lot of heavy documentation. So maybe an architecture team goes to a delivery team and say, can you fill in this Word document with all these design assets and risk logs? And it's very much an output focused approach. And we, by using our architects, we try to transform the business to a leaner, more activity focused approach. So we try to encourage the teams to continually visualize their architecture. We use C4 models, so C4 diagrams, and we're trying to promote diagrams as code using Structurizer recently, and we're trying to get people to continually do that throughout their delivery. And then on top of that, adding workshops and activities such as threat modeling, their architecture diagrams, or risk storming their landscape diagrams, to working as a team in these activities to bring out more effective risks in ways that engage everybody in the team. And so they end up being more impactful, so for the client, but also they're leaner and easier to work with for everybody, and one has a much better time. And so this is, again, comes back to our architects being agents of change. They bring about transformation, and they work with everybody in the business. And this is very much the ethos of how Maytech works with government. We're transforming them to leaner, more agile processes that everyone just has a better time with. So with that in mind, I'm just going to pass across to Evie, and Evie's going to talk a little bit about what life is like as a software engineer at Maytech.
Cheers, Stephen. Hi, everyone. I'm Evie, and and I'm a software engineer working with the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency currently. So in addition to your day-to-day project work, you can get involved in some wonderful things. So the first thing I want to talk about is the engineering book club that we have. It's been running for just under a year now, and it was set up by someone at Maytech, just works at Maytech, a technical lead engineer. So there's really a lot of scope to, if you see a need for something or you have a desire for something to happen, you have the freedom to just go out there and set it up yourself without question. So it's really wonderful to have the freedom to do that. In particular, the engineering book club is something that I really enjoy going to. We have it once a fortnight on a Friday afternoon, and we just get together in a little group and we read a book in our own time to do with software engineering or the kind of software development life cycle. It could be to do with something more technical, or might be to do something less technical, like business development, things like that. And we get together and we take turns to facilitate the club. And we talk about the themes of the book, and it provides a wonderful kind of springboard for a really usually interesting technical discussion about coding concepts and things like that. So to give you a flavour of what we've been reading about lately, we're currently reading Clean Code. And I facilitated the session about comments a couple of weeks ago, which was really fun. And we've looked at the pragmatic programmer as well. And we've also covered a non-technical book called Edge, which I think is about digital transformation. So it's a really nice way to learn and just to kind of network with other engineers at Maytech, and maybe even find yourself a mentor or a mentee. Actually, I found my mentor through the book club, so it's probably my favourite actually. Next, we have the general community of practice and the kind of space that is provided by us having that sort of model of the cloud and engineering community of practice and the kind of subgroups that Stu touched upon within that. So we have the data scientists and engineers who have a kind of capability, and they they make resources actually, most notably about how software engineers can go into data science, which is very interesting. And we've got the community of practice session, which happens on a Tuesday after work every week. Again, it's very grassroots led, so we take turns to facilitate that as well, and we present a kind of discussion about something to do with cloud and engineering that we're interested in. We talk about it in breakout groups. That slot as well on a Tuesday can also be used for someone to do a presentation about something that they're really passionate about. So you could use it to talk about a user story or a feature that you've developed on a project you're working on, and talk about the highs and lows and the kind of technical journey that you went on and what you learned from it. And in addition to that Tuesday session every week, there are other workshops that tend to spring up as well on an ad hoc basis. So lately someone took the initiative to do a refresher session centered around test-driven development and around pair programming together with TDD. So that's been mega interesting. And I particularly like how everyone is just so passionate that you find people just popping up every now and again and taking that initiative to go and do a workshop and facilitate that learning together. It's really wonderful to see. So next, I want to talk about employee-led groups that are not necessarily technical, but more based around different employees' individual needs. So what I mean by that is, again, grassroots-led groups that we have in Slack. So we have Slack channels dedicated to people possessing a particular protected characteristic. So we've got one, for instance, for employees with disabilities. We have a closed group, which is just available to those individuals who have a disability themselves. And we have an open Slack group for those individuals, plus allies and supporters who want to get involved in that kind of community action. And the one that I'm most active in myself is the LGBT group. So we have, similarly, we've got a closed group just for those who identify LGBT+, and then one that is open to allies as well. So we use these groups to, firstly, to provide a support network to colleagues possessing that particular characteristic. And secondly, we use them to organise socials every now and again, which is really fun. So in the different regions, we get together and have socials. And we also use them to kind of spread awareness and as a bit of a springboard to talk about, for example, LGBT+ issues, and talk about transphobia, and talk about Trans Visibility Day, which happened on Friday last week. And it's just really wonderful. They're really wonderful spaces to get together and mix with like-minded people. And this leads me finally to touch on the meetup that I started with some other Maytech teammates called Queer Tech Bristol. So this kind of grew out of the LGBT+ group at Maytech. And it's a monthly in-person tech meetup that happens in Bristol and is sponsored by Maytech now. So we were able to leverage the support of Maytech for a one-off event a couple of months ago. And then that grew into a really strong collaborative relationship between our two organisations, whereby Maytech are actually supporting us on a regular basis as a VIP sponsor now. So it's really wonderful to see. And yeah, this is just a flavour of the different fun things you can get involved in outside your day-to-day. So I'm going to hand over to Flo now to talk about career journeys.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. So yeah, I'm going to talk about my unconventional route into tech and how I finessed my way into software engineering. Thank you, Anna. So yeah, previously I worked across fashion, government, education, and film, but everything all changed September 2021. I just decided I wanted to become like a software engineer. I didn't have a CS degree, no coding knowledge, nothing, but why not? Anything's possible, right? So yeah, I was a member of Coding Black Females and also Black Valley. They're like diversity community groups. So they provided me with resources. I learned HTML. I taught myself CSS, JavaScript. I built some stuff, broke some stuff, fixed some stuff, built some more. And then I came across Maytech actually, and I applied. I filled in the application and I actually just hoped for the best. I was like, it is what it is at this point. If they call me, they call me. If not, it is what it is. I got a call back. I was very surprised actually. They called me back. I went through the whole recruitment process, and then I got an offer for the academy, which started in January. Next slide, please, Anna. Yeah, so this is me in the academy. So some of my teachers, there's Claire, there's Kyle, there's me, there's Dom, and Ollie. He is the talent partner that was taking care of our academy. So what the academy is like a 12-week intense full training program, and it's also paid. One of the reasons why I applied as well, because they pay you to learn. There was like 22 of us from all walks of life. We had people straight out of university, people that had CS degrees. I think we had a builder one time. There was a number of parents like myself returning to tech or transitioning into tech. It was really like a fantastic group of people, but it was a roller coaster. It was very intense. Like we learned agile software development, programming principles, testing. We did coding in Ruby, JavaScript. And I remember we had to do a group project, and my group project was to build a booking form for a government client. And the tech stack was C#, Postgres, React for the front end. And we deployed it somewhere. It was a year ago. I can't remember now. But I learned so much because it's deeper than just the code, being in the academy kind of like taught me about communication skills, problem solving, and also an insight into being a consultant engineer. And yeah, it was really, really good. It really prepared me for the rest of my career. I think now we're changing the academy to an apprenticeship. I'm not sure, but I think someone from HR will tell us at the end. Next slide, please. So yeah, so we graduated the academy. This is one of my favorite, I keep on saying favorite, but this is like one of the highlights of my career. We actually took part in a hackathon. So me and 3 of my colleagues that were in the academy, we went to a hackathon somewhere in Shoreditch, and yeah, literally we built an app, a travel app. It was amazing because this was really, we had the whole company behind us. Marketing gave us swags. We had like t-shirts, bags, so much stuff. We had so much advice from the community, our engineering community. They were so helpful, like giving us tips on how to like kind of like solve the problem, how we should present our code, how we should even like break down the hours. It was really, really amazing. My line manager was so supportive, because I can say it now, but at that time, I didn't know what a hackathon is. It sounded good to me. I was like, oh, okay, this is nice, but I've never actually been to a hackathon. So like my manager like, was explaining to me what a hackathon is. He taught me APIs. So this was like really like a whole Maytech group effort. And it was amazing because it kind of like made me feel confident in my abilities, as in like I'd just graduated from the academy. And we were up against people that were more experienced than us. And I think we won 2 out of 4 categories. We actually won some money as well. So that was really good. So the next slide is what I actually do for my day job. So now I'm working with the DVLA, as Stu had mentioned before. So DVLA is one of our bigger clients, and I am on the 10-year renewal project. And it's so exciting. I proper love it. Like my team is amazing. So my team is made up of DVLA staff and then Maytech staff. And what we do is we work in 2-week sprints to build features for this application as such. And we working with the cloud. So there's AWS cloud, there's Ruby on Rails, some TypeScript, a little bit of JavaScript. So we've recently launched private beta, which means that we've built the first version of this that should be launching soon. Like I'm very proud of what I do. The team dynamic is amazing in the sense that there's a lot of mentoring and coaching and support from other engineers and stuff. I have regular one-to-ones with my Maytech lead engineer who talks to me about my career, like how do I feel, gives me tips on how to improve and stuff. I get to travel to Swansea, which is good. So a couple of days a week, I go to Swansea, stay in a hotel, which is very nice, you know. As a mother of 3, it's nice to get away and stuff. Also, so for me, it's like also just being able to build something that has real world positive impact, like just reading up on the requirements and the reason why the DVLA is improving the online process means that more people across the land now, it's easier for them to renew their license. So yeah, I'm very happy. And that just basically my journey from being a self-taught coder, mother, my unconventional route into Maytech. So yeah, any questions, let me know. I'll try my best.
Wonderful. Thank you all very, very much. I think Stu's going to give you a quick wrap up, just so any questions that you want answered are fresh in your head. And then we've got a couple of pre-submitted questions, and then lots have been asked during the questions, so we'll jump into that.
Yeah, thanks, Henry. So yeah, just to summarize a few key points about life at Maytech that we've covered today. So yeah, firstly, we work with our clients to build great software and deliver better digital solutions. That's really what we're all about. We offer opportunities in multiple different career paths, including software architecture and cybersecurity. We encourage people to get involved in varied activities and projects alongside their consultancy work, as Evie talked about. We really value learning and mentoring, and we support career change, development and progression, as you've seen from what Flo mentioned. So yeah, we're always on the lookout for talented people to join us. Please take a look at our careers page if you'd like to find out more about the roles we have open at the moment. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining us today. It's been great to talk to you.
Wonderful. So a couple of pre-submitted ones first. The first one is, what advice do you have for career changes from a non-tech background? Hey, Flo or Evie, do you want to take that one?
Let me unmute. Yeah, I would say like definitely go for it. I think we're very fortunate that we live now in a society where there's a lot of free online information out there. I would say what helped me is I had a plan and had a vision. I decided that I wanted to be a software engineer. Then I found a community that could support me. So my communities were Coding Black Females that specifically work to get more Black women into tech. And then there's Black Valley, which is for underrepresented groups to get into tech. So from there, I was able to find mentors, people to help me like fix my code and just learn a little every day. So that's what I did. I had a plan. I'll do something in the morning before I do the school run. Then I had my day job. Then in the evening, do my mummy duties, put the kids to bed and learn some more. And I researched all the companies. So for me, because I was transitioning from my previous role was in the government, it made sense to look at tech within gov because I had transferable skills. So whereby my technical knowledge wasn't that strong, my public sector knowledge, I could leverage that as such. So definitely research companies. And I think for me, what helped is I liked the mission and vision that Maytech had. Like they really want to make a difference to the general public's lives. And I felt like this is the kind of company I want to work for. The recruitment process was really cool for me in the sense that they treat me like a human being. It was very quick. They were straight to the point as such. So yeah, I'll just say have a plan, find a mentor, join a community, and maybe just do a little bit every day. I don't know, Evie, what do you think?
Oh, yeah, marvelous. I would echo a lot of what you've said, Defo, and especially about finding yourself a mentor, finding yourself a support network, and transferable skills is a big one. So if there's some kind of skill that you have that you've built up from all your years of experience in your non-technical background, so for me it was modern languages and teaching, then you can definitely leverage those skills to your full potential because it means there's something different about you that people that do have a technical background might not necessarily have. And it's often those skills that are a bit different, a bit out there, or, you know, more human side skills that are harder to teach. So yeah, definitely use that. And I would say Code Bar. If you're from an underrepresented group, I love Code Bar. Met my girlfriend there actually. so it's amazing, and you should definitely look that up to get some help on your project.
Wonderful, thank you very much both. And then I guess linked to this, once someone has a role as a junior developer, what do you think are sort of the key things to do or get involved with to try and stand out and get access to work on even cooler projects?
The things you can do to stand out, like in your application.
I mean, more as a junior developer, once you got your foot in the door, is there any advice for, I guess, what you need to be sort of focusing on?
Definitely try and pair with people that are more experienced than you, or mob with multiple people who are more experienced than you. If someone's running a workshop, go to the workshop. Try and steep yourself in the unknown so that you can learn as much as possible. And it's going to feel a bit overwhelming, a bit confusing, but if you go for it and try, like if you go to the book club and you have no clue what people are talking about, but then you can like look stuff up, ask questions, then it's going to contribute to a big learning curve. Let's get the biggest learning curve possible, I'd say. What do you reckon, Flo?
Well, I second what you're saying. I think what from my experience is that the Maytech engineering community is really, really good. Everyone is really willing to help. So I think definitely putting yourself out there, asking questions. Like I've for example, Evie helped me with one of my projects that when I was in the chalet. As such, I've reached out to other engineers about, oh, okay, you know, you're a principal engineer. What kind of things can I do as a junior or entry level to further my career? You know, but definitely it starts with a conversation. I feel, yeah, just we're open community. Everyone is always helpful. If they're busy, they'll tell you they're busy because sometimes it can get quite busy on a delivery. So yeah, that's my caveat there.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, let me just check on that actually, because I have a few thoughts on that as well. So over and above what Evie and Flo said, I mean, yeah, I absolutely agree. Being outside your comfort zone is a great way to learn. So that's something that definitely I would recommend. Talk to as many people as possible, and I think as Flo said, you know, there's lots of opportunities in the consultancy environment to interact with more senior people and a variety of different people. But that leads me on to my final point. If junior engineers want to learn quickly, consultancy is a great way to do that, just because of the sheer variety of work you get involved with. So yeah, if anyone is looking to accelerate their journey through the sort of ranks in the software engineering career, consultancy is the way to go.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's a couple of questions obviously come through that people have asked, and they've been asked directly, but we'll go over them just so everyone who's attended has some visibility over them as well. Someone's asked regarding applications from sort of women in tech returners, and see very much the Academy is a great place for that, and can support with reintroduction to tech after some time out. So definitely look into that. There's quite a few questions around the Academy and sort of the apprenticeship. So do keep an eye out for that. Please do register via the link at the end, and the team will be in touch, and there'll be lots of information around the Maytech Careers Academy. They are open to anyone. Someone asked whether it's employees only. No, very much open to anyone. And then I had an interesting question, I guess, for Flo around when you were sort of looking at moving into tech. I know you touched on it as what sort of attracted you, but was there sort of a specific point during the process with Maytech where you thought this is going to be a really interesting place to join?
Yes, I think, yeah, the recruitment process was really cool. And I think my first day of the academy, I was like, what is this? It was it was being flung out of my comfort zone, because this is the thing, when you're a self-taught coder, it's just you and your machine and you doing your coding. So I think going into the academy kind of like, oh my gosh, I have to code with other people. So learning to read other people's code, writing code other people can read as such. So that's when things got interesting for me, as in like working as an engineer is a collaborative endeavor. It's not just you on your own. So that was something I learned new. And there's a lot of talking. People think that, oh, it's just you and your machine typing away, but there's literally a lot of conversations that happen before you actually write anything. So yeah, that was in Academy, really opened my eyes. So yeah.
Wonderful, thank you very much. And I guess there's lots of interest obviously around sort of open roles at the moment in terms of hubs. Does anyone want to go over, I guess, where your offices are and sort of the opportunities for travel are in terms of work?
Yeah, I can probably pick that one up. So I think I covered the 4 base locations we have, which are London, Manchester, Bristol and Swansea. So that's where our office spaces are. And broadly also where our clients are centered as well, or we do have some outliers. So we hire around those 4 locations. We also have people dispersed all the way through the UK. I think we've got someone in Orkney, is probably our furthest reach. In terms of the roles we have open, it varies. We sort of have quite dynamic. We hire quite rapidly. So software roles, we currently have roles open for mid and senior level software engineers. We're about to hire or open roles for technical architects, lead technical architects, and other roles will come and go. There's some cybersecurity roles on the way as well shortly. So really the best way to find out what's currently on offer with Maytech is to keep an eye on our careers page, follow us on LinkedIn, and we regularly post updates. there on open roles.
Thank you. And I guess one for any of you, but particularly maybe Stephen as well, around, are there any sort of growing areas that you think would be valuable for people to focus on, either from sort of a tech stack or sort of more transferable skills level, that will be useful both in sort of public sector work, but I guess just and Maytech as well, with your internal projects in the future?
I can try and answer that one. That's always tricky to predict the future in terms of where the technology is going. We see a lot of JavaScript, obviously, that's been around a long time, but it's growing inside government rather than decreasing. And a lot of cloud adoption, again, is something that in the public sector, there's a lot of services deployed into on-premise data centers. And there's a lot of moves to the cloud with AWS and Microsoft Azure being the two big players. And we're seeing a lot more Microsoft adoption for Microsoft Cloud. So that's something in the public sector we're seeing a greater demand for skills in. I don't know if anyone else has got any thoughts on that. Maybe Stu or Evie.
Yeah, I mean, just reflecting on that, I think for me, certainly in the public sector, and I suspect the private sector as well, the biggest shift I've seen in sort of the last couple of years has been the move towards serverless. It's been a huge pattern for us, and we spent quite a lot of time migrating cloud-based infrastructure into serverless, just because of the cost savings involved, particularly in sort of government usage patterns. It really does have quite a significant impact.
I think cloud adoption is a big thing that I've seen on my project, and kind of adoption of more of a DevOps mindset. And kind of you build it, you operate it. We want visibility on it. Infrastructure as code, implementing that has been a big thing, definitely.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And then obviously I know there's some more questions around sort of career changing. Absolutely, obviously, I think Evie's already answered this very well, but yeah, they're very open to sort of any background. The skills radar that Stephen shared earlier is a great way to have a look at sort of like your skill sets, but also keep an eye on their website and careers page. And the academy will open up again in the summer for the next batch, so keep an eye out there. Now I had a question related to your book club, Evie. Is there a particular standout sort of book, or I guess a theme of books that would be a great sort of starting point for someone looking to get into more technical literature?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Clean Code is, if I could recommend one single book, I think it would be that one, because the way it's written is very like friendly and approachable. It's not written in a kind of dense way, so that's a great book. And the principles in that book is quite, I find it's quite easy to like see how they apply kind of in your day-to-day. So yeah, that's been a standout part, I think, that we've been discussing in the book club for someone to look into, definitely.
And also to add to Evie, we actually get a learning budget where we can buy materials or books or courses that can help you in your career. We also have like learning time where you can take time off to kind of learn stuff. I would add a book that is really good is I don't know if you can see the program, is that The Pragmatic Programmer? It's a really, really good book, easy to read, and it kind of like gets you into the mindset of what makes a good software engineer. Because I think sometimes we can be so definitely, yes, the code does matter, because you do want to write code that works. It's not about writing buggy code, but it's deeper than that. It's like it's a mindset type of thing. So definitely would recommend The Pragmatic Programmer. That's an amazing book.
Wonderful. Thank you all very much for giving everyone a deep dive into the really valuable work that Maytech are doing that sort of touches everyone's lives across the UK, and for the insight into sort of the Career Academy and career changing. For all the attendees, if there are any further questions, please do reach out. As a follow-up, we'll be providing a link to their careers page with a list where you can find a list of all the open positions as well as sort of their benefits. If you're interested in career opportunities, please do register via the form in the email, and we'll come back to you as soon as possible, and also connect with everyone on LinkedIn, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks again. Bye.